What's up everybody, Jason from Jason's Exotic Reptiles back at you with another video. It is breeding season 2023 and I want to show off a couple females so you can see what a prime condition breeding female looks like. I'm going to show a couple examples throughout the video, but we're going to start off with this really pretty hypo jungle female. This girl is a 2019. This girl is a 2015 that I produced back in 2015. She was a late 2015. She's probably about 6 feet long and has a perfect body tone. I would have zero problems putting her into a breeding season this year. Now she has nice follicles for the first time. In previous videos, I mentioned that you can breed females as young as about 3.5, but it really is animal specific and animal dependent. Last year, she did not have follicles, and this is about an 8-year-old female. So 8 years old, this female finally is ready to breed. That's a long time compared to what you might see as the average of 3.5 years. I have plenty of other females that in almost 2.5, 3 years, they're already developing follicles. They're a little bit small, so I might skip the year, but for the most part, this girl took 8 years for that same process to happen. The next girl I want to show off is this hypo motley female. She's also 100% het for albino. I currently have her paired with a sunglow male, Shikal albino, and this is another really late season developer. So this girl is a 2013. She is 10 years old and she finally has follicles. She has had follicles almost every year for the past 3 or 4 years, but they were not developing. So this year, I dropped her temperature super low, very hard, fed her like crazy over the summer, and she's finally developing those follicles for me. So some females need a little bit more stimulus to make them actually develop those follicles. This girl in particular needs that. I found something very similar with a lot of the mountain species of boas like Tarahumara's. Those need to be dropped really low in order for them to develop follicles. Otherwise, they're just gonna skip the whole season for you. This beautiful girl here is on the opposite end. She is a hypo blood that I produced in 2018, and she's actually going to be in her second breeding season. Last year, she was about 4 years old, and she produced a beautiful litter of babies. I believe this was the mom of my Paradigm litter last year that was also het sharp. I put her to a Paraglow 100% het blood. She produced really pretty babies, but she was ready to go earlier. I have found that Central American boas and Central American base boas generally seem to develop these follicles and breed at an earlier and younger age. We'll take a quick look at her because her body condition is also perfect. She has this nice muscular body. She's a little bit heavy, and that's what you want going into breeding season. If they're too skinny, by the time they're out of breeding, they're gonna be way too skinny. So you need to make sure they go into breeding season a little bit heavier than you would want a prime boa that's not breeding all year round. Now I wanna show one additional example of this girl right here. She is very tiny, and she is a Central American boa. So she is heavily based with Central American. She has a male in her, so I want to try to be careful with her. But this is an example of a boa that I will not breed this year. Could she pull it off towards the end of the season? Potentially. But she is very skinny from last year's breeding. She is a 2017, so she has definitely aged to her. And she bred and gave me a beautiful litter last year. But she was a little skinny going into last year. She took a little bit longer to get back on feeding. And I can actually feel that she has some follicles in her right now. I will not breed this girl this year if she does have those follicles and she's still of this size. If I bred her this year, she would be too skinny by the time she gave me her babies, and she would just be emaciated and potentially die. So I don't want to do that to these animals, but you can see the size difference that it's not always size, it's size and age, and you need to take into account the full genetics of the animal, as those other animals had no Central American in them except for that blood. Those just happen to be a big line of Central Americans that I've been working with. But this girl here is very tiny, specifically for her age and for her size, and it's not due to lack of feeding. I feed all my snakes the exact same. It's purely genetic. The genetic markers for this girl is going to give a smaller boa, and that's exactly what happened, is she is a smaller boa. Now, she also went completely off feed while she was holding those babies. Some boas will eat throughout the entire pregnancy and others won't touch food. This was one that didn't touch food, and if they eat throughout the pregnancy, they can generally bounce back and do year-over-year breeding. This girl was not one of those examples. She did not do any eating while she was pregnant, and she's not something that would put on enough weight. So she came out of the breeding season very skinny, but she's going to put weight back on. She's doing great. I just want to give her slow weight gain. You never want to try to force that weight gain on these animals. Just like dieting, you don't want to put on size too fast either. It all needs to be in moderation to keep these animals healthy and living a long time. This is one of my favorite boas. She doesn't like me as much as I like her, but she is a Paraglow Fire, so she's a het sharp, het boa woman caramel, hypo fire. Really beautiful animal. I am obsessed with this girl. She does way better looking in person. She's at 2020, and you can see she has a male in her as well right now, so I want to be gentle with her. But she is potentially going to breed for me this year. If she does, it will be a late season, so she'll be one of those 3.5-year-old examples. She has nice size, she has small follicles, and if she can continue to grow those follicles, she'll be one of those probably February to April breeders to give me one of those last-minute litters. I really like this girl. We're going to put her back because she does have a male in her. I fed them this morning, but she was something that I thought would be beautiful for this video to show off. Paraglow Fire. Another female I want to show off is this 2021 Pink Panther VPI Motley. Really beautiful boa, and she actually has follicles, but she's too small. So this is a snake that, although she has some follicles, she's not one that I would risk breeding. I think that her weight is perfect, and I'm trying to get her to stretch out. Another one that has a small male in her. Her weight is perfect, but I would not want to breed her. She's a little bit too small. So again, 2021, she's developing follicles. She's 2.5 years old. It's not always a rule of thumb. We started this video with females that were super old from that 3.5-year rule, and we're going to kind of show off this girl that is 2.5 years and she has follicles. It's not uncommon for these females to breed at this age. It's just really snake dependent. Hopefully you guys found this video helpful. This is all kind of this inside knowledge and this stuff that you learn over the course of breeding. It's something that I can't give you all at once, and you almost need to learn a lot of this on your own. If you are looking to advance that at a quicker pace, definitely check out my Patreon. I would personally recommend the community chat or higher tier. It's really something where we can get into a large group with like-minded individuals and have these conversations about what exactly I'm doing every month. This is something that I like to think is helping a lot of the members in the Patreon, specifically those aspiring breeders or those newer breeders who are just trying to figure out exactly what's happening. I can give you all of my knowledge in an hour, 2-hour long community chat every month, and we can walk through exactly what I'm doing during the course of the year, as well as any other questions that you want to talk about, from market trends all the way down to veterinary and medical care for certain things. So definitely check out the Patreon if you are interested in learning more at a more advanced pace than what I'm going to be producing in these videos, or if you need more of that specialized help and care, you just want to get from point A to B. The best investment is not a new snake, it's the knowledge of what to do with what you have. So until next video, I hope you enjoyed this one. Let's keep it moving. Thanks, guys.